Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a collaboration with the amazing Sonia Stegemann. I was so honored when Sonia agreed to do this collaboration with me. If you don't know Sonia, you're in for a real treat. Her artwork is so beautiful and her YouTube is full of inspirational tutorials, speed paints, and sketchbook sessions. Her process videos were especially enlightening for me. Sonia has a soft, calming, and patient speaking style that makes her tutorials easy and pleasant to follow. She is such a sweet person, and the aesthetic of her artwork is definitely something to be admired. It's absolutely stunning. Speaking of aesthetic, the collab that Sonia and I decided to do is a mood board swap. We each made a mood board for each other to use as inspiration based on the theme summer dress. If you would like to see the mood board I made for Sonia to work from, I will have a link in the description to her video. It'll take you right there. Please go check it out if you aren't coming here from there. If you are new to my channel, I'd like to thank you for visiting. I hope you enjoy the video and consider subscribing. And now, onto the artwork. As soon as I received this gorgeous mood board from Sonia, I knew I wanted to challenge myself with a really fun, summery pose. Something that wasn't too stagnant, that would instead bring out the fun, loving feeling that I got from looking at the mood board. I went through a couple of different sketch ideas here, and I thought I'd leave those in so that you could see my whole process. I just felt that these poses weren't dynamic enough, and I wanted that movement I was talking about earlier, so I didn't end up going with these. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to use all of the different things pictured in the mood board, but I wanted to get the general gist of it, the feeling of it, to come through, so that's what I was trying to do with my posing. I decided to do this piece digitally because it had been a while since I'd done a digital piece, and that's my main medium, and I also felt like I would be able to really push myself knowing that I could always undo or go back to the previous step or move something around if I needed to. I just felt like digital would be the way to go for that. Third time's the charm, they say. So when I started sketching out this third pose, I really tried to push the anatomy and like the way she was holding herself so that there was a clear sense that she was moving and just pushing those proportions. Despite trying several times though, I couldn't quite get the bottom part of her legs to look nice no matter what I tried. So I decided in the end to just leave them out, and you'll see me go through a couple of different ways of lining those so that they didn't look like she was an amputee, and I think in the end it did finally end up looking okay. Something I've been doing lately is trying to sketch initially very loosely. I've never been very good at gesture drawing, but I'm trying to get more into that because it does help breathe life into your characters, and I think it really did help make this piece a lot more fun to look at. I did have a little bit of trouble positioning her arms and hands, but not nearly as much as I had with the legs, so I was pretty happy about that. In general, it's becoming easier for me to do hands, and I'm starting to really like drawing them. They can make an artwork so much more expressive depending on how you've positioned the hands and what they're doing within the piece. So I'm glad they're becoming a bit easier with practice. Just like hair, I used to hate drawing hair, but now it's one of my favorite things to do after I practiced it for a while. So that's my advice to anyone who's having trouble with drawing a particular body part, is just to draw it over and over again until it becomes easy and starts to become fun. I think definitely next on my list is doing a bunch of legs and feet, because that seems to be what I'm having issues with these days. So after I took my time with the sketch and got it looking pretty much exactly the way that I wanted it, it was time to line, and I'm a little bit different than a lot of artists. I like to use a brush that doesn't have much pen pressure, so it has a pretty even thickness, and then I use the eraser to make it taper where I want, and that's mostly because I have trouble controlling a brush that has a lot of pen pressure, and I also prefer the look of my lines when they're very similar in width all the way around. Some artists are really good with varying line weight and making it look really dynamic, and I'm not quite there yet, or maybe that's just not where my strengths are. I might practice that traditionally, especially with like a brush pen, and see if I can get that looking the way they get it looking. But for digital art, I just really enjoy having that kind of sameness of line, unless I'm looking to add some accent lines, and then I will take a much smaller brush and add those in for extra oomph. I'll tend to do that a lot, especially in the hair and the folds of fabric. Speaking of fabric folds, that's another thing that I'm not really great at, but also trying to improve. So I was pretty happy with how her dress came out here, because I didn't overdo it, I think, with the wrinkle lines, and I think the pleats around the bottom don't look too inaccurate. I was a bit sad that this pose meant that I had to leave out the sandals, because I really liked those in the mood board that Sonia made, but I just could not get those legs looking right. And it also would have made for a very vertical presentation, really tall and skinny, so I didn't want that either. I did have a lot of fun drawing that purse though. It was really fun adding all of the intricate details to this piece. I wasn't able to add the detailed background I originally wanted to do. Backgrounds tend to take me forever, and I was also worried it would take away from the character who was the main emphasis of this piece. Someday my skills will be good enough that I can do a full background and not have it take forever. I also definitely could work on positioning my character within the background before I get to the lining stage so that everything works coherently. I'm actually currently working on a piece like that, and I'm going slow and taking my time and trying to make sure that I really work on having the whole thing look like the character is actually taking part in her environment. It's a difficult thing for me, but I'm also really enjoying it, and I'm hoping I can get to the point where I can do these more expressive full illustrations on a more regular basis. What I love about this artwork though is that I definitely wouldn't have created this character if it weren't for Sonia's mood board that she sent me. She is definitely a different type of character than what I would usually draw, and I never would have had these fashion accessory ideas that were provided in this mood board on my own, so this was awesome. I tried to make sure I got all of the colors from the color palette included on the mood board, and I did manage to do that after I got the bright idea of using the dark green as her eyes. All of the women pictured in the mood board had slightly tan skin with bleached hair, so that's what I did for this character. I gave her kind of an ombre, natural to bleached hair effect, and I think it came out really nice. Looking back on this piece as I do the voiceover is interesting. I can really see how much I'm inspired by the Disney style. It's not exactly the same, but I can definitely see that coming through. Which is funny, it's not really a conscious thing I'm doing, it's just a part of my style. I did want to add some sort of a background to frame the character, so I decided to go with something that was kind of representative of ocean waves behind her. I grabbed the colors from the pictures on the mood board and just kind of did a swoosh. Come to think of it, it looks a little bit like the Pepsi logo, but hopefully not too much. I don't know what that looks like off the top of my head. I played around a bit with some dramatic lighting and kind of a rim light on that side later on. I definitely think it helped the character look a bit more 3D, especially once I added the shine to her skin a bit later down the road you'll see. In hindsight, I can see some things I could have done better, but overall I'm pretty proud of this piece and I had a lot of fun making it. Do any of you watching this ever use mood boards to help you come up with inspiration for a drawing? I'd love to hear about your usual process. Also, I think this girl needs a name and a backstory, so if you have any ideas for that, feel free to leave those in the comments below. I think it would be fun to give her a little bit of a story. And here is the final result. Once again, I want to thank Sonia for doing this collaboration with me. I had a blast and I hope you did too. If you guys haven't checked her out yet, please do so. Again, I'll put the link to her video down in the description and also on the end card. Bye everyone!